Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing very well. And today through this video, I bring to you the current affairs from October 11 to October 21. So let's get started. PM Narendra Modi declared Gujarat's Modhera as the first 24/7 solar powered village. So students, there's a place called Modhera in Gujarat and that has been declared 24/7 solar powered village, 24/7 as in round the clock. Solar powered village. And Modhera is famous for a centuries old sun temple built during the Chalukya period. So you should know this. And this place, it's located about 25 kilometers from Mehsana district of Gujarat. Mehsana is a very well-known place in Gujarat. And it's about 100 kilometers from the state capital of Gandhinagar. So this village has a ground-mounted solar power plant and about 1,300 rooftop solar systems that collectively generate solar power, sufficient for the entire village. And according to the Gujarat government, the village can save 60% to 100% on their electricity bills with this move. Moving on, tele-mental health assistance and networking across states initiative launched. So students, there's this initiative called Telemanas. It stands for Tele-Mental Health Assistance and Networking across states. And this initiative has been launched by NIMHAN students, National Institute of Mental Health and Neuroscience. So we all know NIMHANS Bangalore. That's like, one of the so it's a nodal or the primary body that looks into mental health and neuroscience issues in the country. And so this initiative was launched on the occasion of World Mental Health Day, students. So now, what is the objective? It aims to provide free tele-mental health services all over the country round the clock. So the aim is to provide tele-mental health services, mental health services, which can be, provide through telecommunications. And it aims to particularly cater to people in remote or underserved areas. The program includes a network of 23 mental health centers of excellence, with NIMHANS being the nodal center, as well as the International Institute of Information Technology, Bangalore. So these two are the most important, the primary bodies that are involved in this initiative. And the government aims to open at least one telemanas cell in each state and union territory. So basically, they want to have a countrywide and nationwide coverage and at least one cell in each state and union territory. And the services would be provided in regional languages as well and through a toll-free number. Now, moving on, students, Home Minister Amit Shah unveils 14 feet high statue of Lok Nayak Jai Prakash Narayan. So the statue of Lok Nayak Jai Prakash Narayan, JP, he's famously known as JP, and his statue has been unveiled in Saran district in Bihar, village Sitab Daria in Saran district in Bihar, because Jai Prakash Narayan hailed from this village. And so Jai Prakash Narayan, students, popularly known as JP or Lok Nayak, he was an independent activist, theorist, socialist, and political leader. He has a number of contributions to his name. He's contributed to both, pre, the independence era, the freedom struggle, as well as the post-independence India. And his primary contribution that he's known for is the opposition that he led against the emergency imposed by Indira Gandhi. And he was a a vocalist for free expression in the country. He also played a very important role in the Quit India movement, students. So his statue has been unveiled in Saran district in Bihar. Next students, Indian American Tulsi Gabbard exits Democratic Party student. So Tulsi Gabbard, she's the former US presidential candidate, and she was the first Hindu American to run for the White House elections in 2020, and she's announced her exit from the Democratic Party ahead of next month's midterm election students. So Gabbard has blamed the party for racializing every issue in the nation, students. So basically, she's blamed that Democratic Party is very high on anti, white uh, racialism, basically, and she has denounced her party as elitist cabal of warmongers. And she's a former U.S. congressman, and she was a member of the party for the last 20 years. So, according to her, the Democrats of today divide us by racializing every issue, stoking anti white racism, and are actively working to undermine our God given freedoms enshrined in our Constitution. And she's called them hostile to people of faith and spirituality. And according to her, they demonize the police and protect criminals at the expense of law abiding Americans. So some very serious charges being made by Tulsi Gabbard, and she's known as a very, hardcore critic of the Joe Biden government. So very quickly about Tulsi Gabbard students, she was the first ever Hindu American to be elected to the U.S. House of Representatives in 2013 from Hawaii students, and was subsequently elected to the 4 consecutive terms. And like I mentioned, that she was also the first Hindu lawmaker in the US Congress to run from the presidential post in 2020. So she was a presidential hopeful in 2020. And she's known for being a fierce critic of US President Joe Biden. And she's also slammed him for pouring fuel on the flames of the division in the country. So, according to her, this Democratic government is very divisive. Moving on, students, Times Higher Education Ranking 2023, Indian Institute of Science tops among Indian universities. So, Times Higher Education rankings have been released, students. And this year, the Indian Institute of Science Bangalore has secured the top place among the Indian universities. Please don't confuse it as, IISc being the top universities in the world. No, it has secured a top place among the Indian universities. So IISc has been ranked under the 2251 300 bracket students. So imagine a university that is like uh, the top university in the country has been ranked in the 251 300 bracket by Times Higher Education rankings. So, and 5 Indian universities have made it into the world's top 500 universities. So basically, they've released a ranking of 500 top universities, and only 5 Indian universities have made it into the top 500. And in total, 22 Indian universities made it below rank 800, 3 of which were debutant universities. DTU, Graphic Era Universities, IIT Indore, Triple IT, Delhi Jamia, Hamdard University, JNU, and KIIT universities also have been put under the 601 to 800 bracket. So students, this is the list of the universities and the institutes. So if you see in the 251 300 bracket, we have Indian Institute of Science and some other prominent universities you can see here. IIT Ropar in 500 to 600 and Jamia Millia Islamia 500 to 600, Banaras Hindu University 600 to 800. Next, students, Nitin Gadkari introduces Toyota pilot project on flex fuel strong hybrid EV. So, Union Minister for Road Transport and Highways Nitin Gadkari has unveiled the Toyota Corolla Altis flex fuel car, which has been touted as the first of its kind project on flexi fuel strong hybrid electric vehicles in India. So students, we all know that the government, in order to curtail the high import bill, uh, which is, wherein we all know that India imports a very large amount of, fuel from foreign countries, which inflates our import bill. So in order to curtail this and in order to meet the shortage of fuels, the government is trying to promote the flexi fuel students, right? And we are moving into, the country is embracing the hybrid electric vehicles technology. So, as an initiative in that direction, students, the Toyota Corolla Altis Flex Fuel car has been unveiled by Nitin Gadkari. And this project intends to examine whether ethanol powered flex fuel vehicles can be viable in Indian conditions. So, students, in this regard, a MOU was signed between Toyota Kirloskar Motors and Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. And the data would be collected and shared with the prestigious Indian Institute of Science for conducting a deeper study about the well-to-wheel carbon emissions of flexi fuels in the Indian context. So basically, this technology has been already introduced in other countries, but they want to check or test for its viability in the Indian conditions. And so this flex fuel vehicle has been imported from Toyota Brazil, students. And it has been powered by a 1.8 liters ethanol petrol hybrid engine, students. So ethanol is the fuel that it runs on. And the petrol engine is paired with a 1.3 kilowatt battery, which churns out, certain combination, and it's linked to a CVT gearbox. Next, students, Harry Potter actor Robbie Coltrane died at the age of 72, students. So Robbie Coltrane, the veteran comic and actor known for his star turns in the British crime series Cracker and the Harry Potter movie franchise, has passed away at the age of. So we all know, students, that Robbie Coltrane was famous for playing the role of Hagrid in the Harry Potter series. So he died at the age of 72 due to multiple organ failure. And he was born in 1950 in Glasgow, Scotland. Next, students, Telangana's Hyderabad honored with AIPH World Green City Award 2022. So the city of Hyderabad, Telangana, has been honored as the grand winner of International Association of Horticultural Producers World Green City Awards 2022. And it is one of the most prestigious awards in the world. And it has been awarded for its initiative titled Green Garland to the state of Telangana. Hyderabad also won the award under the Living Green for Economic Recovery and Inclusive Growth category, students. So basically, it has been awarded for its greening initiatives and also for the inclusive growth that the city promotes. So it has been awarded for its initiative relying on greater use of plants and nature to create better city environments and help fulfill local aspirations for improved economic, social, and environmental resilience, students. So for the fact that it has been able to maintain a green environment and it has been able to fulfill the local aspirations also. That means it is growing in an inclusive manner. And that's this Telangana's program, Telangana Ko Haritha Haram's large-scale tree planting program, students, that was taken up from 2015 to 2016. So this program, tree planting program, was also acknowledged. And the program aims to increase the tree cover of the state from 24 to 33% of the total area of the state. Next, students, Global Hunger Index 2022, India ranks 107 out of 121 countries. So India ranks 107 out of 121 countries, students. That is not a very good performance. That's not a good performance at all, in fact. And India fares worse than all the countries in South Asia, barring war-torn Afghanistan. That means in South Asia, our performance is worst among all the countries except for Afghanistan, which is of course can't be compared because it is war-torn and has got very different set of conditions. So India has scored India with a score of 29.1. It has been placed in the very serious category. And India ranks below Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bangladesh, and Pakistan. And Afghanistan is the only country in South Asia that performs worse than India. China is among the countries collectively ranked between 1 and 17, having a score of less than 5. So China is way ahead of our students, and it is among the top 20 countries. So for India students, India's child wasting rate is at 19.3. And it is highest for any country in the world and drives up the region's average owing to India's large population. Now, let's quickly understand, students, that what Global Hunger Index is. It is the tool for comprehensively measuring and tracking hunger at global, regional, and national levels, right? So basically tracks and monitors the hunger level in the world. And it values, or it is based on 4 component indicators. So it is based on 4 indicators, students. So what are the indicators? Undernourishment, child stunting, child wasting, and child mortality. So let's quickly understand these terms, students. You should know what these terms mean. They've got very distinct meanings. So undernourishment represents the share of the population with insufficient calorie intake. Child stunting initiatives, child stunting, that indicates the share of children under age 5 who have low height for their age. So students, undernourishment means insufficient calorie intake. Stunting, as the term indicates the share of children under the age of 5 who are low height for their age, right? And child wasting reflects acute undernourishment, and it means, or it reflects children who are low weight for their height. So very quickly, undernourishment is insufficient caloric intake, right? Wasting is low weight for height, and stunting is low height for weight, right? For the age, sorry. And this is measured across the categories for children under the age of 5. Next, student, Sri Lankan author Shehan Karunalatika has won Britain's Booker Prize 2022. So Sri Lankan author Shehan Karunalatika has won Britain's Booker Prize award. So Booker Prize 2022, Booker Prize, students, we all know that's the most important, most significant prize awarded to writers. That's the most important, award for the authors in the world. And Booker Prize 2022 for fiction has been awarded to Sri Lankan author for his book, The 7 Moons of Mali Almeida, students. And this story is about a journalist murdered amid the country's sectarian strife. So the judges praised the ambition of its scope and hilarious audacity of its narrative technique, students. And this is Karunatilika's second novel only. His first novel was published in 2011, students. So this award comes in about 10 years after he made his debut. Moving on, students, Mission Schools of Excellence has been launched by Prime Minister Modi in Gujarat. So the Mission Schools of Excellence, it is launched by Prime Minister Modi in Gujarat, and it has a budget of 10,000 crores, and it is partially supported by the World Bank. So what is it aimed at? It is designed to improve the state's educational infrastructure by constructing new classrooms, smart classrooms, computer labs, and other improvement, students. So basically, it is to create schools of excellence that provide a digital uh, pedagogy or digital services to the students. And so over 5,567 crore worth of school infrastructure upgrades would be carried out during its first phase, students. So you all should know that Mission Schools of Excellence, this is about overhauling the educational infrastructure and constructing new classrooms and smart classrooms. And digitalization is going to be at the heart of this new model of schools. And according to the Prime Minister, the recently introduced 5G services is going to play a fundamental role in, providing the new set of services, educational services, as well as the Internet of Things. Students, Mallikarjun Kharge elected as the new Congress president. So, very important political development there. Mallikarjun Kharge, a veteran Karnataka leader, has defeated his rival Shashi Tharoor to become the first non Gandhi Congress president in 24 years and the first scheduled caste chief of the grand old organization in 4 decades. Students, we all know that after you know, uh, Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi, sort of refused to run for the uh, presidential Congress presidential elections. Uh, Veteran Karnataka leader Mallikarjun Kharge and Shashi Tharoor were the two people in the fray. And Mallikarjun Kharge has been appointed as the new Congress president. He has defeated his rival Shashi Tharoor. And he's the first non-Gandhi Congress president in 24 years, students. So we all know Congress government, the Congress party is based on dynastic politics, but this time a non-Gandhi has been appointed as the Congress president, first time ever in 24 years. And earlier students, Sitaram Kesri, he was also a non-Gandhi Congress president way back in 1988. And he was ousted at that time to make way for Sonia Gandhi to become the party chief. Students, Wildlife Board approves Durgavati Tiger Reserve as the new Tiger Reserve. So students, Durgavati Tiger Reserve, it has been announced or declared as the new Tiger Reserve, and it is situated in Madhya Pradesh, students. So this Tiger Reserve, students, has been made out of the Panna Tiger Reserve. We all know Panna Tiger Reserve is one of the most famous tiger reserves in the country, in Madhya Pradesh. So a part of that has been carved out into the Durgavati Tiger Reserve, students. And we all know, students, about this Ken Betwa issue, that a part of the tiger reserve would be submerged because of the Ken Betwa rivers. So there's a lot of opposition around it. Students, India, France re-elected as president and co-president of the International Solar Alliance. So in the third assembly of ISA, International Solar Alliance, students, that's an alliance which is led by India and France, and that's the only alliance which is headquartered, only international body that is headquartered in India, Gurgaon. And India and France has been re-elected as the president and co-president of this alliance, students. So let's quickly understand what this initiative is. So this is an initiative that was launched by Prime Minister of India and President of France way back in 2015 at Paris on the sidelines of COP21. So basically, India has played a leading role in launching this initiative, in launching and running this initiative, I would say. And the objective of this alliance is to scale up solar energy, harnessing solar energy in the world. And it also aims to undertake joint efforts required to reduce the cost of finance and cost of technology. So we all know, students, that the biggest barriers in mainstreaming the solar energy is the the cost factor basically. So the aim is to reduce the cost and technology involved. And it has been positioned to help create conditions that would make funding, developing, and deploying solar applications on a large scale a reality. So basically, they're pushing for solar energy for mass usage. And this would also enable or help the countries achieve the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. Next, students, Indian discus thrower Kamalpreet Kaur banned for 3 years. So very unfortunate. Indian discus thrower Kamalpreet Kaur. There could be a question that is with which sports is Kamalpreet Kaur associated? She's associated with discus, students, the sports of discus throw. And she has been banned from competition for 3 years due to a doping violation, students, and by the Athletics Integrity Unit. You all should know that this is the body that bans the sports persons for doping violations. So the body is known as Athletics Integrity Unit. There could be a question that which body does this? It is Athletic Integrity Unit. And that's independent body created at World Athletics that manages all integrity issues, including doping and age fraud. And it has provisionally suspended Kamalpreet from participating in world sporting events. And she's tested positive for the banned substance stanozolol. Please remember this. Next, students, China's total trade surplus with India exceeded $1 trillion mark. So we all know that China runs a very high trade surplus with India, or you can say that India runs a trade deficit against China. So what does this mean? This means that China exports a lot more to India than it imports from India, right? So there is a trade imbalance between the two countries. And this year, it has exceeded the $1 trillion mark. So basically, the trade deficit or the trade imbalance between the two countries is huge. So the trade gap has widened particularly in the past decade. And this year, it has exceeded $1 trillion mark. Now, students, very interestingly, this increase in Chinese imports. So we've seen a surge in Chinese imports in the past few years, and this has come in the middle of growing calls to boycott Chinese products. So Indian customers' attitude towards Chinese product has turned so hostile in the past few years, particularly after 2020, that some Chinese firms switched to Made in China label to Made in PRC. So PRC stands for People's Republic of China. And, the whole sentiment against the Chinese product has been so hostile that it has pushed China to change the label from Made in China to Made in PRC. However, students, regardless of this hostile sentiment, the import of Chinese products has only continued to increase. And tensions between two nations also made the Indian government to ban a lot of Chinese apps. But, apparently none of that has helped, and the imports and the imbalance between the two countries has only increased. So that's all for this video, students. I would see you next week with another video on current affairs. Thank you so much.